Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. On tonight's episode, we are going to talk Aquaman, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Bumblebee movie predictions. We look ahead to these final slate of comic book movies and discuss, is it sink or swim for DC's hero? Is this Spider-Man movie going to be the best Spider-Man movie of them all? And Bumblebee...
Did you say
finally,
sink or swim?
Yeah.
For
See what I did that?
Aquaman?
Yeah, see what I did there? Finally, these Transformers actually look like Transformers. Is Bumblebee going to be any good, or is it just going to be a nostalgic fest? I am your host, Michael Dolce. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. Hassan Godwin, the Lord of the Radio.
Hey,
That's your big intro right there.
I can't follow yours, so I don't usually try.
So
you're all like,
you just look, you see like better in front of you, and you're like, I'm not even going to try to top that. There's no competitive spirit in you.
Whatever spin you want to put on it, that's fine. I usually just don't try to match the energy.
I got you. Okay. Well,
however you want to make
that
it
is
sound.
acceptable. We are brought to you by our beloved patrons.
Name them.
Mr. Craig Caruso, who's a new one. Omar Morales as well, too.
Hey, nice.
Einar Peterson, Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai, Program Director Stephanie Dolce, Executive Producer Brian Phillips, and our Uber fan, Christina Dolce. So,
yeah, we lost Hovecki.
his credit card decline. We gotta do something about that. It could be a date. It could be that
could be anything.
Getaroom.com tried to build something on it, and he had to get a new one. I mean, it happens to people. Go check us out on YouTube.
We're never getting past that.
Twitter, Facebook. Just do a search for @Secrets of the Sire, and you can find us on there. SoundCloud, same thing. If you would like to support us, go to patreon.com. Become a backer. If you don't want to become a backer and just want to follow us, there's a lot of free stuff that we release.
Don't follow us
throughout the
physically,
week,
though.
which is
That's
good.
because that's illegal.
YouTube, please subscribe. We want to get those subscriptions up and running. We want to get that thing going really strong. All right. We are talking Aquaman, and as it stands, the critics' first reactions were released this week. So now we get to know from people who have seen the movie. And here's the first reactions. They call it insane, cheesy, and one critic actually said underwater Star Wars.
I heard that. I heard the underwater Star Wars.
This is coming from Newsweek. There's a lot of riding on Aquaman, as Wonder Woman is the only great DC film in recent memory. The cat is out of the bag, though, and people are starting to react. IGN's Tom Jorgensen called the film the best DC movie since The Dark Knight. Film editor Peter Scaretti said the film was better than he expected. Said he feels like a Marvel Phase 1 movie in a good way. Gizmodo called Aquaman the second best DCU movie. So besides The Dark Knight or Wonder Woman. Yeah. He did mention parts of it are kind of bad, but they're not the majority, and oddly still fit in with the cartoony tone. Fandango's Eric Davis called it the most ambitious DC movie.
That was a compliment sandwich. He gave it a compliment sandwich.
That's like the pat on the back, push him out the door.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not usually, it wasn't that great, but considering what I expected, it was enormous.
Well, that's Van Helsing expectations.
Yeah,
but
that's a typical internet, I don't want to go on a limb and actually claim I actually like this because I don't want to get pilloried.
Sure.
So I'm gonna caveat it. I'm gonna ease into it by saying, wow. For what it was really great.
Yeah. Well, we don't know because obviously we
haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it yet, but definitely that.
Look, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's good. I think, like I said, I've said before, Jason Momoa needs a break. He doesn't need a break. He's good.
Deserves a break.
He deserves a break.
He's a solid
he's a solid actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He goes way back, and he's had a couple of false starts, like that Conan movie. Like they butchered that movie. He was fine in it. He would have been a fine Conan, but they butchered it right around him, like as best as humanly possible. They went around him to butcher it, and a couple of other vehicles he's had have been kind of false starts. He was Drogo on Game of Thrones.
That was his big breakthrough. I don't think anybody you for some reason knew. Of
I've
him
known who he is for a long time,
but I had no idea
because you're not a sci-fi nerd.
Right.
Because he was on Atlantis. He was in the Stargate series.
Right.
He has the last 17 years, but, I guess that's nothing special for anybody else.
No.
Yeah.
It's just not. I'm sorry.
No, you keep claiming it's not, but that just gives away your street credit.
That's true.
Lousy. But anyway.
Yes, when it comes to Stargate Atlantis, I got
when it comes to culture, pop culture in general, being knowledgeable about things, knowing things.
I got you.
Being up on what's going on, knowing what you're talking about. That little things like that. If you want to start it,
I think those are details.
That's an important detail.
I think you're missing the bigger picture.
That would have been an important detail to look up, at least for now, since you were going to be talking about him and Aquaman. But see, that left it up to me as usual. That's okay. Anyway, he's been around a long time. He deserves a break.
Yeah.
I liked aspects of Justice League. I liked most of his parts in Justice League.
Yeah.
I liked the sequence in Atlantis was very interesting. It seems like it was going to go someplace. So it'll be nice to see them elaborate on that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think so too. I think,
and I think they released all this information 2 weeks before the movie comes out. 2 weeks before.
I mean,
you could poke holes in it. You could do anything in those 2 weeks to
So here's
discredit
two things about this film, right? That strikes me as interesting. One, the actual embargo is not till December 11th. So you're right to have these early, certain people can post certain things on social media.
They're not going to lift the embargo until.
Well, right, the actual embargo goes till December 11th. So you wonder if these are plants. Are these guys that I think I even saw something online that suggested that these are the same people that thought Justice League was a good movie. Same kind of critics. So is it stuffing? Are they kind of try to stuff the ballot box a little bit?
But everybody does that. First of all, everybody does it. Second of all,
but nobody has the kind of pressure that DC has.
It's not the knock list. It's not Russia. It's just a movie. We don't have to apply the deepest, darkest conspiracy theory to the situation. Could be that people actually just like the darn movie. Because what's going to happen is we're going to go see it. We're going to like it or not like it. Time's going to move on.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out on DVD, and then DC's gonna move right on to the next one.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it does well or not, DC seems to be able to just shake off.
Well, because they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They can do that.
But I also think the other reason is those movies aren't doing as bad as everybody makes them out to be.
Not financially wise, right?
No.
Not financially wise.
No. So I mean, nobody cares about anything.
It's not like
other
a Solo
than
thing where all of a sudden it didn't hit the same mark as other. In fact, like Suicide Squad exceeded, I think, expectations in terms of financially speaking. Right?
Exactly.
Me fail English? That's impossible.
I'm just so used to it now that I just translate. I automatically translate. I know what you meant.
Movie. See it. Good.
Yes, Dolce. We'll eat right after the show. No problem.
Here's a fun little tidbit, though.
It better be fun.
According to this Newsweek article, Aquaman broke the first 24-hour ticket sales record set by Avengers Infinity War.
Good.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a good thing, but how come everyone's looking for the bad in it? How come everybody's sifting through it? So there's a problem here. I'll find it. My God.
Because
there's a problem.
When you harp on the negative of anything, it makes
more clicks.
It makes it. It's more clicks, but it's also more interesting, right? At the end of the day, it's the television news, right? What does the news show you? It shows you the killer. Yeah, if it shows you the killers, it shows you the murders, shows you the car wrecks, it shows you the catastrophes.
I get it. But
the Weather Channel, for God's sakes, if a hurricane shows up, goes 24-hour, cycle. We don't sleep. There's a weatherman getting blown away, and that's they're hoping their weathermen get blown away.
The problem, or they fake it. Right. You saw that, right? You saw that.
Yeah.
The problem is we claim to be in the entertainment business. We're not the news. So we don't necessarily have to be negative about everything. We just don't. We could be positive. We could say, hey, we don't even have to go on a limb and be positive. We don't have to say this is going to be a great movie. Yeah. And Secret Service Hire says that anybody who watches this movie is a genius. Everybody who hates this movie is a fool, and everyone who loves this movie is going to get a special prize from Mike Dolce. No,
I like that spin.
We're not saying that because we're not giving anybody a prize.
Oh, that's okay. Very good. Very good. That's a good point.
Listen to what I'm saying here.
No prizes.
No prizes. There's no prize.
We could give a no prize.
What I'm saying is we're not going to go on a limb. We could say, hey, we hope it's good. And say we've been burned before, so we're only going to hope. But, all signs point to it being good. They're due a break. You know, they have had one or two, mostly just one, but one or two good movies that have come out of the DCEU, right? So we could hope for the best towards the end of the year. And we could say that. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Why are you looking for the negative?
I'm not.
You're looking for The Last Jedi. You're looking at Last Jedi.
Look. At the end of the day, I go out there and I scour the news, right?
And
I look at, okay, what are topics? This is all the stuff that's coming up.
I would refer to it as a peruse.
Scour. I scour.
No, it's a peruse.
It's a peruse?
You peruse.
No, I scour. Like, you don't understand. Like, I am vigorous.
You vigorously thumb through the
I am in Starbucks clicking and clacking away. You have no idea. Now, let me tell you right now. So I was in Starbucks today.
Okay.
There was no seats. But there was like 3 or 4 of us holding laptops. And just wandering aimlessly like zombies. We're just like waiting and hawking like for that next seat to come up.
Why didn't you go to another Starbucks?
Because I already paid for parking. I'm not giving up my $3. I gave $3 for parking.
You don't have to leave. You can leave your car there. You didn't leave your car in Starbucks, right?
No, but I was literally.
I guarantee you, there's a Starbucks 2 blocks away from wherever you were.
There's not.
There is.
Not. I wasn't in New York City. New York City, yes. There's a Starbucks in every block.
Oh, you didn't. You left that part. You buried the lead. You weren't in New York.
Yeah. Well, I was in New York, not New York City. Look at you, all high and mighty, calling New York like New York.
New York is New York.
New York. No,
this is the place.
It's the city.
It's the center of the universe, my friend.
What does the tick say when he gets up there? What's he defending? He's not defending New York. He's defending the city. It's always the city.
But that's not New York City in the tick.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's in general, it's the city.
No.
I'm merely just saying.
You're a moron.
All right, give me
I'm arguing with you.
Give me your predictions. Sure to go wrong for Aquaman.
Oh, come on.
Let's say over under 80 million.
Oh, it's first weekend?
Yeah.
Over.
Like how much over?
20 million over.
So it's going to crack the 100 million mark. Is it going to do a Vincent Chase? Is it going to beat Spider-Man? That's Entourage. Come on, anybody?
No.
Anybody? Crickets?
No. Yeah, no. First of all, no Entourage.
Yeah,
and
Entourage.
No,
Entourage great.
It's not going to beat Spider-Man.
There was that whole.
I know, and I'm trying to head you off from going into nostalgia about it because nobody cares.
I care.
Just trying to steer you away from that.
I care.
I'm doing you a favor.
No, I don't think so. That was actually the glory days of Entourage. There was like 3 seasons where it was amazing, and the season when he was working with James Cameron, and the season right after where he had the effects of Aquaman.
Your kids weren't even born when that. I mean, that's how long ago. That's how far back you're referring to.
I have a daughter who's 2 months old. She wasn't born when Infinity War came out.
Yeah. And
so
we're not talking about Infinity War. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say actually over 80 million too. I think it's actually a pretty easy guesstimate to do. In fact, I think it's gonna be in the 90s. I don't think it's gonna crack 100 million.
I think it'll crack 100 million.
All right, so we got that. We don't with the over under on 100. I guess I should have just done 99 million. As
there hasn't been a big movie.
Under.
There hasn't really been a big movie at all in the last since Venom.
Yeah, which was like
really, and it wasn't expected. It didn't explode to be a big movie. No, so it hasn't been a big movie since Avengers.
Well, actually, we have a big movie coming up the week before Aquaman, and we're going to talk about it next. Is it going to be the best Spider-Man movie we've ever seen?
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Did you know you've been playing poker your whole life, even if you've never played a hand of cards? Hi, I'm Ellen Lakend, author of Poker Woman and host of the new show, Poker Divas. On the show, I talk about how poker strategy helps you win in business, life, and love. Tune in live every Thursday, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network. Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday at 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo!
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
My vomit streak goes back to the 2010 Super Bowl.
You haven't vomited in 8 years?
I have a iron stomach. My 2-year-old son takes after me as well, too. He did the power hour, too, but it was milk. Still didn't vomit.
Oh, well, I guess that's settled.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. Again, if you are viewing us on Facebook, we've got quite a lot of people in the chat right now chatting it up. Dan Lawson just said, in a world where a Batman and a Superman are expected to be the moneymakers, it's good to see Wonder Woman and Aquaman carrying the DCEU. Tyler Chapman.
What are you going to do with Superman, though? I mean, what are you going to do with Superman that hasn't been done? The Man of Steel was such.
There's an element to it.
It was such well-tread ground that they had to do the first 40 minutes of it on Krypton just to try to make it seem a little different. And nobody could ever decide what Krypton looks like. Krypton is always either this ice planet or this apocalyptic war zone, or it's terrible.
Yeah.
The TV show Krypton looks exactly the same as it's all bad. Nobody cares about Krypton.
Priya Numbard from Talking Alternative. She and Joan from Follow Me Friday. She's on the feed as well. She says hello. She says all three of the movies look great. I'm partial to my man Aquaman, though. I think the female factor
yeah, that's gonna
that Jason
carry it over the
brings
top.
in is going to be a very big thing. By the way, if you're listening to their show on Friday, I'll be a guest on their show on Friday. So tune in around 12:30. See? Shameless plugging for me and for them. Yay. Tyler Chapman looks at Spider-Man, thinks it's going to be a really, really good movie. So let's jump into Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse, could this be the best Spider-Man film of them all? Right now, so far, it seems as if the reviews are just Spider-Verse is dazzling, it's hilarious, it's unique, and it's also the beginning of their own little interconnected universe. I mean, everybody, critics-wise now, it comes out in 2 weeks, has just been kind of gushing over it, right? And we had our guest, Jeff Gomez, on from Starlight Runner. Don't tell Jeff, but we're actually going to do a show from his office in Starlight Runner. It's going to be exciting.
Does he know that?
No, he doesn't know that yet.
Oh, okay.
And I came up with that idea. I came up with that idea today.
Okay.
And we're going to do that because I think it'll be pretty cool.
But we're not going to tell him.
No.
When exactly are you planning on telling him?
I don't know. We'll figure this out.
Probably when we show up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But he had always
You're going to tell me, though, when we're going to do it, right? So that I could at least be there?
Maybe, and we'll see how it goes. How it goes. But he had
right,
mentioned something about just animation in general, and it just has less cooks in the kitchen, right? So, Spider-Man, so there's a great article on Deadline talking about, basically how Sony had these grand ambitions to do their interconnected universe. Amazing Spider-Man 3, which never came out. The Sinister Six, which Drew Goddard says he's still down to do it.
Right.
And then you had Venom, which was an unexpected success, and my number 3 on the top movies of 2018 to this point.
Top bad movies.
Go check out last week's episode, and you can find out our heated debate as to Hassan
you can hear me
wanting to
explain
blow
why
out
he's
his
wrong.
brains.
He's absolutely wrong.
And then they basically kind of just gave up and went back to Marvel and said, "Look, we don't know what we're doing. So
here's Spider-Man.
Yeah, we clearly have no concept of what to do here."
If they just concentrated on making Spider-Man movies, they would have been fine, But everybody's got to we're trying to follow that program, the MCU, the MCU.
But they're doing it again now. But it looks like they're doing it in animated form, and it might work.
Well, at least they're doing it all in one movie. And they're going to
Yes.
see if it branches out instead of making us go to see this movie, which will be a trailer for the next movie,
Right.
which will end in a cliffhanger and branches out
Right.
and make us go see 5 other movies that will all become, all suffer diminishing returns until they cancel it, and then we never see how it ends.
Right.
Which is basically what the Amazing Spider-Man was.
Right. No, yeah. I mean, that's essentially what it. Well, they hit a wall. I mean, they were like, this didn't turn out as good as we had hoped.
Those were not great films. I
No.
mean, they were wonderfully shot. They were beautiful films.
Yeah.
There's some beautiful stuff,
Mhm.
especially in the second one.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous, and they got the CG right with Spider-Man
Yes,
finally,
yes.
because the CG in the original
And the costume
Raimi
too.
movies were the second one
Yes.
had his costume right.
I thought so.
I always said that they are going to have a problem with it because they got the costume so right in the Sam Raimi ones that costume was perfect. So it's like there's
In Spider-Man
nowhere
2, yeah.
Yeah, there's nowhere you can improve on this.
Yeah.
So when they did the Amazing Spider-Man and they kind of altered his costume a little bit, I'm like, okay, yeah. And then they got his costume right again
Yeah.
in the second Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But good Lord, such a terrible film. Well, excuse me, not a terrible film. It wasn't a good story.
No, and
it
Jamie,
really just
and Jamie
wasn't good.
Foxx, as much as I wanted to like him in the role of
no.
Electro, it
Well,
just,
I mean,
it
what
just didn't work.
What did they give him? Why didn't
Yeah,
they
it
just
didn't
make him a
work.
bad guy? Why did they have to make him this strange, introverted, sheepish, socially awkward nerd who gets, why do we have to be sympathetic to these villains all the time?
Yeah, I know.
Just make
I
them
know.
bad. It was a really mediocre movie that desperately tried to convince you it was a blockbuster. And that was what the biggest problem with it was. If it was like a TV movie, we'd still be praising it.
Yeah.
We'd
So
be talking about it right now.
Right now,
In a good light.
it's tracking it to be a $30 to $40 million startup.
Yeah, they're saying
is-
that's coming in low.
We're hearing a $30 million start is reasonable for this movie, but it could jump as high as $40 million. The Pix official trailer from 5 months ago clocked in 29 million views.
I see the YouTube punditry is saying it's already tracking as a failure at 30 million.
Really? At 30 million? Because it seems
a lot of them are complaining about it.
as animated superhero movies based off comic books typically are released directly into the home entertainment market, Spider-Verse's opening would be higher than Warner Brothers' Toon revival Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which bowed to 24 million. So it's really not...
I mean, look, those are the numbers. Those are Warner's numbers, and the people who appreciate it or the people who like it.
So let me ask you. So you're saying the YouTube pundits are actually saying this is bad, but meanwhile the official people are like, this is a good.
Not
thing.
only are they saying it's bad, and I'm not getting into any controversial stuff, but they're
Yeah.
saying it's probably bad. The 30 million is bad, and if it makes 30 million or less, it's probably because it's Miles Morales instead of, because Rags Morales is a penciler, and that's why I always get them mixed up.
And a Jets fan.
Yes, and a great guy. It's because it's Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker, and nobody knows who Miles Morales is, so no one's going to go see it.
Peter Parker's in there.
Yeah, but he's a schlubby, not Spider-Man, Peter Parker-ish,
Okay.
kind of situation. And so they're saying that it's probably not going to go over because nobody knows who this guy is, and so Sony should have focused on Peter Parker. But I don't think they can. I think it's shaky ground for them. I think Miles Morales is the right way to go because they sold Peter Parker to Marvel.
Right.
Right? So
Now Priya actually just commented that she loves that she's switching up with some diversity in the new Spider-Man. They definitely have. I mean, there's definitely an angle toward diversifying the cast. You have Spider-Gwen in it as well too. I mean, the
Spider-Verse is very
I was going to say
diverse.
the very nature of the story, and this is where,
because you got a pig in there. You got
this
Hamlet.
is where
You got Peter Ham.
it actually works though, because it's all based around the crux of the story. The story is that there's all these different Spider-Men and women and Hams,
Yes.
across different universes. So it makes sense to have this diverse cast. It's a different thing when some movies, you can look up there and go, oh yeah, I see what they're trying to do here, and the characters are diverse, but they don't play a real key role in the movie at all, or they don't play a key role in the story. You can kind of just see that they're there, to kind of check something off a list, and that's where it gets frustrating as a viewer. I think the diversity in this is amazing, and it's so organic, and it just fits, and it's going to elevate this story.
I'm not really trying to get into a controversial
do you know what you're on?
debate.
Did you realize
I understand that. I understand where I am. I'm I'm trying to control things a little
You're
better
like,
this time. I'm
not,
steering the ship this time, man.
I'm not going to be
I'm the man, and
on a
nobody can break me down.
on a talking head show.
but
I'm going to be calm and rational. 'Cause
Basically,
that's going to work for us.
what I'm trying to say is that I'm not trying to get into a diversity discussion about this diversity. I'm just saying the punditry is saying that it's coming in. It's clocking in at 30 million. Hold on, when it's clocking in at 30 million.
Yeah.
They're saying that's really low for a Spider-Man movie, for a Marvel affiliated movie. I'm telling you what they said.
Right. I know.
Would you let me finish?
I can still make groaning.
No, no.
If you can make if you can make groaning noises,
I am the
during my intro.
The second chair.
During my
I can
intro,
groan all I
can
want.
make groaning noises. I'm not groaning at you. I'm groaning at what.
It feels like an attack, though. I feel threatened.
No, it's not.
I feel
it's not
threatened.
An attack.
I feel.
It's not an attack.
I'm gonna get a gun.
You wouldn't see it coming anyway.
See, that's a threat.
That's
definitely a threat.
That's actually not a threat. It's just a.
That's a threat.
That was a shot at your glasses.
Anyway.
See, wouldn't see it coming.
Do not mock my glasses.
Yeah. I'm on fire tonight. Go ahead.
You call that fire? I call it something else. When yeah. So they're saying it's gonna be bad. I'm not elaborating anymore. You don't deserve my elaboration.
Let me dissect one thing you said and then ask a follow-up question for you personally. For a Spider-Man movie, I feel like animated movies in general, though, are held to a different standard no matter what.
This is what I am saying about like the toxicity. Like everybody's looking for the bad.
But that's my follow-up question. Is it simply that there? Are people like riding the diversity train for this particular movie too?
Maybe so. I mean, maybe they shouldn't be
to get the clickbaits and all that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the. I mean, look, I've seen YouTubers blatantly say it's going to do badly because it's Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker. And then there's someone else. Someone else said that Peter Parker's a schlubby. They make the white guy the schlubby guy, and they make everybody else the girl and the colored person. The center of attention. So, I mean, yeah, if you want to go there, I honestly,
that's interesting. Actually, that's a very interesting.
I honestly don't want to take it there because I just don't think it has anything to do with anything. Miles Morales is a genuine character. It's not pandering to.
No.
Maybe the character itself, when it was done, was a form of pandering. If you want to call it that, if we want to just get into the weeds of it and have that discussion.
See the beauty.
It's been around for so long, and it's done so well, and it's been so well handled by Bendis and by and by I forget the artist's name who drew it.
Oh gosh, it was Sarah Pichelli, right?
Yes,
I think it was Sarah Pichelli.
So beautifully drawn.
She's amazing at that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a legitimate.
And you know who the artist David Marquez also took over for her.
Mm-hmm.
His work is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I actually I have like an internet crush on him. Like I'm consistently tweeting him, being like, I loved your last issue. I just saw this makes me want to draw. Like and I talk in that high pitched voice as I tweet.
Your wife know about that?
Oh yeah.
She does.
She's fine with it.
She's all right.
She's like just anything that keeps you busy.
You guys are advanced. You guys are kind of.
She's taking care of an infant. She's taking care of an infant right now. She's like anything that just keeps you over there occupied. All right.
Tell her to send me my check then.
When we come back, we're gonna talk John Cena. We're gonna talk the Transformers. Or are we? Is Bumblebee any good? Is Bumblebee the Transformers movie we've been waiting for? When we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Do you like comic books and movies? How about TV and pop culture? Then you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Michael Dolce, host of Secrets of the Sire. Joined every week by my co-host Hassan, Lord of the Radio Godwin. Together, we have over 15 years' experience creating graphic novels, screenplays, and more. Join us as we bring you the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Give me a vote, Bobby. What do you think? Steele or Nick Fury?
I loved Steel growing up, and I haven't seen it in almost like 15 years. But things were limited in the 90s. We didn't have many superhero movies to turn to.
James Quarandango said this is like asking which eye you want poked out.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, youtube.com. Go to Twitter. Again, just search Secrets of the Sire, and you can get us whatever streaming platform you enjoy the most. All right. We're gonna shift over. We've had a lot of fun comments on the Facebook feed because, look, throw up 3 movies that people are excited to see and get some comments here. Tyler Chapman is very excited to hear us talking about Bumblebee, which we are going to be doing so right now. But again, we took a over-under on Aquaman. What's your over-under on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Over-under, let's do 35 million because that's what they're tracking.
Over 35.
I think it's going to be over 50 million. I think it's going to be a huge movie. I really do. I hate that people are trying to pick it apart saying it's one thing if you sit there and say like Miles Morales.
Same thing I said about Aquaman though. That's strange. That's odd.
I have a short memory. I can't remember what you said.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you sit there and say like it's one thing if you sit there and say Miles Morales is not well known. It's another thing if you really try to play like that like the race card.
See, that's the whole thing I was saying is that was the angle I was using. It seems that they're going that way on YouTube, but I think it's more that he's less known than Peter Parker.
Which is a legit point. But I think the fact that you have Spider-Man, I think you also have a weekend where nothing else is coming out too. I think it's going to bode really well. And plus, every single thing. Well, 2 things.
We don't have a Star Wars this year, and then like for the last 4 years, it's been a big. Well, the last 3 years, it's been a big event. And so now we don't have one. So people are going to be looking for some kind of end of the year blowout. And then now they've got 3 movies. And it's geared towards kids. Yes. Yeah. It's a kids. It's actually there's 4 because they're tracking. We're not going to really talk about it because we're guys and this is a guy-oriented show. But they're also talking about Mary Poppins is going to be another big draw. That's what they're.
When does that come out?
That's coming out.
Is that Christmas or January?
No, I think it's Christmas.
I thought it was 2019.
I think it's Christmas. I think it's around the same time as some of these others.
It's not guy or girl, but that's not necessarily kind of like.
Yeah, but we weren't going to talk about it. You know for a fact.
It's not our brand of superhero.
If I came back and said, "Hey, I saw Mary Poppins," you'd be like, "Yeah, that's nice." Anyway, what are we talking about this week?
No, I would want your full in-depth review.
No,
I want your reaction.
No, you wouldn't.
I want to actually have you film yourself in the theater reacting to the film as you're watching it in the theater.
Wouldn't.
And then we'd post that up online.
You would not.
All right, we're going to talk Bumblebee, Transformers.
These are lies.
Will this bee keep us buzzing? See, I love it. Yeah, I did it. I went there. The big takeaway I'm getting from this right now, right, from all the trailers.
Takeaway for me is a headache.
This is from Inverse.com. Surprise!
I don't trust them. Everything is backwards with them.
Oh yeah, you're complaining about
Come on, I didn't want to get into it.
Black.
Huh? See, now it's racist.
Yeah, I definitely pulled. I pulled the.
You pulled the kettle card.
Damn it! I was going to say that. I didn't get it out in time. All right. Surprise! These live-action Transformers actually look like the '80s cartoons in the last trailer that came out.
This is what's bothering me. There's something that's bothering me so much about it because
Why?
they still screwed it up because.
Why?
That character is not Starscream. The character that looks like Starscream is they're calling him Blitzwing. So they still messed it up. I
feel like there is something historically about that character that there's always like when he in everything, even in the comics. I feel like there was something about him. I don't know why.
I just don't know why. Like, why wouldn't you just take care of that to get that right? And that's probably more again studio interference, where the studio didn't interfere with the looks and the visuals because it was sold to them on that basis. So we're gonna do Transformers for the actual Transformers fans, for the Generation 1 fans. We're gonna make everything look Generation 1. or as close to Generation 1 as possible so that the fans will come. And the studio's like, we used Starscream before. We have a license on that, so just pick another character for that name.
I think that's definitely something,
throw that name in. And it kind of screws things up. They don't understand that the fans want the name and the looks.
Yeah.
You know, the fans want everything.
Yeah.
So the fans are still gonna draw heat for that alone. You know? But it looks good. Some people are saying we're going to go back to the punditry again. Some people are saying that because they haven't, it's especially due to the example that Aquaman has done by lifting the embargo.
Yeah.
The fact that it hasn't even screened the movie for test audiences yet is a bad sign for this particular movie.
It probably isn't good. I mean, let's be honest, right?
I mean, they're saying it's a bad sign. Look, I'm going to go see it. I'm just going to enjoy the visuals because I've been enjoying them so far.
Yes.
If it is a horrible film, it will be just another horrible Transformers film.
Right.
In a stream of many horrible Transformers films that I have seen. So I'm not. I mean, the surprise will be if I walk away from this thinking, "Wow, that was a really good movie." But at least I'll get to see some of the visuals I've been looking for since 2009.
Yeah.
When this whole thing started.
I mean,
that's kind of how I feel.
The shot of Soundwave,
exactly,
it's pretty dope. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's a pretty.
Nobody
cool...
says dope anymore, but yeah, you're right.
I'm
you're absolutely right. Yeah,
I'm
bring it back. Bring it back. I say you do it.
That's what I do.
That's you haven't yet, but I'm with you if you do.
What do you mean I haven't?
I mean, you really haven't.
Are you saying I'm not the?
You haven't successfully.
I'm not the pop culture trendsetter.
You haven't really successfully.
This 39-year-old white dude is not the.
You haven't successfully.
It's not the hub of what's considered.
You have not successfully popped any cultures. Oh, that's all I'm saying. But
I'm not going to go with that one. You know, it was interesting.
That was a good one.
Again in Starbucks
passed
today.
Right by that.
Again in Starbucks today.
This is what your problem is Starbucks. I think.
I love Starbucks.
I know.
Play the Starbucks drop later.
They all know you love
what
it.
Comes on the radio? Smells like Teen Spirit. They're just going through it. Like,
what does that mean?
That means that dope is coming back. Dope was a big word back then. I'm just telling you what I know. All right.
That's a lot of mental gymnastics, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not. It's 90s. It's 90s nostalgia. All right. This is actually saying, you know, Bumblebee is also just looks like a plain good movie with a good relationship between Bumblebee and the first human, Charlie, anchoring the story. WWE star John Cena also appears in the film as the primary antagonist, Agent Burns, who seems to unwittingly align with the Decepticons, unaware of their true motives. How are they going to play this prequel out? I mean, it's supposedly a prequel.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is good in the sense that they're not, just casting aside the continuity that kind of came already.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you justify, like, people didn't know who Transformers were in the first Transformers movie to now all of a sudden kind of knowing?
Everyone who's on the Decepticon side gets horribly murdered.
By Starscream?
By the guy who looks like Starscream, but he's not Starscream.
Yeah, okay.
That's how you fix that. Cured.
Let's do a little.
Where's my check?
Let's do a little not over under on this one. The succession of movies are Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse that comes out on the 14th.
Yeah.
Aquaman comes out the 19th. Bumblebee comes out on the 25th or the 26th, something like that. I'd see the Christmas Day or the day after Christmas.
Okay.
Does Bumblebee win the weekend over Aquaman week 2? So Aquaman week 2. Because they're actually coming out the weekend before, technically speaking. Now,
it depends on Aquaman's how big a blowout Aquaman's first weekend is.
Yeah.
If he wins his first weekend big, as we're talking over 100, then he'll dominate the second weekend over Transformers. Transformers will come in second.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes in low, or there's some kind of issue, there's some kind of problem or something like that. Then Transformers will take it. Maybe. But I think people are just...
I think by the sheer amount of
tired
days...
of Transformers
at
this point.
I know.
Tired of being disappointed.
But that's why I posed the question, because it's an interesting question, right? Aquaman, to me, is going to be the Venom of the end of the year, right? It's going to be the movie it's not necessarily going to be like you're going to go there and be like, well, this is a fine work of art or this is a great superhero movie. I think it's going to be a fun movie that people.
Well,
like,
I didn't say that.
They have a charismatic lead who's going to bring people to the theater. People are going to be excited to see that guy. They're going to, I feel like he's a magnetic personality. He's got this presence when he's on screen. You know what I mean? Like so, it's someone you can kind of root for and go see twice is what I'm kind of intimating at.
Right.
And the movie itself is going to be fun enough. There's going to be enough things going on. I didn't even actually get into the Star Wars quote that one of the critics, quote unquote, who saw it, apparently.
Yeah, you said that Aquaman is Star Wars underwater.
G.I. Joe writer-director Ben Meckler says the best superhero movie since Dark Knight. He goes into detail about how Wan succeeded at creating the Star Wars of the sea. James Wan has crafted a world the likes of which we've never seen on screen before. It's truly an undersea Star Wars with a palpable sense of history, hammerhead sharks with human legs who can pop, lock, and drop it.
Spoiler.
And flat-out incredible creature design. So from a visual standpoint,
I think he's off. I think it's actually going to be Black Panther underwater.
Oh, okay.
I think it's coming off the way the story is kind of reading. It's going to be more like Black Panther underwater.
Yeah, but this is why
which was Black Panther was Star Wars in Africa. So it's
that's the worst.
Kind of correlates in the
mashup. Like it's not.
I'm just explaining.
Yeah,
I know. I'm just going for it's not this, but it's kind of that.
All right.
It's almost that.
What I was going to say though for Bumblebee though, and that's why I'm kind of wondering if it's. I think it's going to make more money than Aquaman.
Stumblebee. It's going to stumble. It's going to be bad. You started this, so now I'm like stuck with it.
Oh yeah.
I'm very sorry.
I like when things like this happen. I think though at the end of the day, it's going to make more money, but by how much? So over under, how much more money does it make opening weekend over Aquaman? Let's say 20 million. Over under.
Bumblebee?
Yeah.
Over Aquaman.
Over Aquaman. So, like for example, if Bumblebee comes in at 75 million, week 2 Aquaman makes 55 million. That's $20 million difference.
I don't think Bumblebee overtakes Aquaman.
You don't think? Oh, you don't even. So, wow. Okay.
Look, I could be dead wrong about this, but like I said, first of all, you just got to look at the way they're setting this up. So we could be wrong because I will say
I'm never wrong. There is no video or audio evidence of me ever being wrong.
Everyone else other than you was dead wrong about that. But we were wrong about Venom.
Yeah, being a fun movie and really enjoyable. And,
no.
And the number 3 movie.
I was right about
year.
that being sucky. We were wrong about how well it was going to do, though.
Yeah,
we were definitely wrong. about that.
Yeah.
So I could totally be wrong about this Transformers thing, but I think the Transformers is going to do well. I just have this feeling it's a little too late kind of situation for it.
I feel like it's
and
too
quick.
quick.
I have this feeling that Aquaman is going to be another
Venom.
Another Wonder Woman, another revelation,
Okay.
another DCEU revelation, which they're due for, right? So I think the Into the Spider-Verse is going to do really well.
I think so too.
But I think it's going to start to come in second after Aquaman, and I think Aquaman is going to dominate the rest of the year. Although I do think Bumblebee is going to do well, modestly well, but I don't think it's going to overtake Aquaman.
Okay.
Because people are looking for all 3 of these. People are looking forward to all 3 of these.
I will bet you some Chipotle that Bumblebee makes more money than Aquaman in week 1, but I'm also going to say the under when it comes to how much more.
So opening weekend, you think Bumblebee? Because we have Aquaman over 100 million.
And it's no. Okay, I'm not saying Bumblebee's first weekend versus Aquaman's first weekend. I'm saying Aquaman in week 2.
Okay, so Aquaman drops down to 50 million. You're saying Bumblebee opens at 75.
Something like
that.
Or I'm saying the under. I'm actually saying they'll get like 75 and Aquaman will get like 58 million. So under 20 million. I think there'll be less than a $20 million.
I think if
gap.
Aquaman does anything, it'll blow out the rest of the year. If it does nothing, then it'll be a flop. I'm saying
that's one of those obvious statements. Like,
in other words,
don't score more points than the other team,
in
the
other
other
words,
team's gonna win.
I'll put it correctly. If it does anything, it'll do everything.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, it won't do anything. So
when we come back, we go spinning the racks.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
The best designs for your life start at home. I'm David Thiergartner, interior designer and host of At Home. Listen live Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as we talk to the very best professionals about interior design and the design that's all around us, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
You ever seen like the old men at the Starbucks? Like they have their little like.
I don't go to Starbucks.
Oh, I do. I work at
I'm
Starbucks.
a man.
It's fantastic, and they just have these old men club, and they just sit around and talk about the good old days.
That's why I don't go into Starbucks. It's a creepy sausage fest on caffeine.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We'll get back on Twitch at some point, too, after I figure out why nothing streams except a big black screen. Tyler Chapman asks, how do you think John Cena will do in Bumblebee? And I actually say John Cena's been great in everything he's been in. He really was Cock Block with that movie that came out. He was or Blockers.
Ding.
They were Blockers. Ding. That's the name of a movie, sort of. He was great in that. He was great in a lot of films. He's just like one of those. Again, he's like The Rock in a way. He's like one of those natural actors who just very magnetic personality.
As long as he doesn't take himself seriously.
He doesn't though, and
he doesn't take himself seriously, he wins.
I think he's going to be a dark horse in this film. I think he's going to add a lot to the film. Whereas all the promos right now are focused on Haley Steinfeld or Stanfield. I can't remember.
I don't know.
All right, butcher. Bing. But I think
that's kind of another thing you do anyway. So. That's part of your charm.
I'm all about the graphics on this show.
Yeah.
buy it for the graphics and the aesthetics.
Yes, exactly.
Not for the story.
We're here for how we look, not how we sound. Darn it.
Yeah, which really isn't a good business model.
No, it's radio. We're gonna work on that. We're working on it.
But no, I think he's gonna be one of those. No matter how the movie
he's going to be the breakout
is reviewed, he's going to be one of those and he and John Cena brings something. So it's either going to be this movie was great and John Cena makes it even greater, or this movie was terrible but at least John Cena was great in it.
I think the ambiance of that movie is going to be the Gen 1 design.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to go on a limb right now and say this is going to be the best Transformers movie I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Just because of that. Even if the movie is terrible. Because it can't really be worse.
My only question
than the Michael Bay movies. It can't be story-wise. It can't be worse.
Which in hindsight, you couldn't predict though. Soundwave is one of my favorite characters. We actually have a shot of Soundwave running through the thing, through the video feed, and we don't even have boom boxes anymore. So it's kind of at least that movie takes place in the 80s.
But it does takes place in the 80s.
God.
So we're good.
Yeah.
So we're all good.
Yeah, maybe that's why he wasn't in the new the new ones.
He was
because he was
a
obsolete.
satellite.
Right. Yeah.
It was so bad.
I know.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
Oh, there it goes. It just cycled through. All right, we do this every week. We go spinning the racks.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
Favorite moment of
bringing
the
you the
night.
most fantastical pop culture news. Sony builds out Spider-Man universe with a Spider-Woman film. So jumping on the into the Spider-Verse discussion.
Obviously, they don't care about the 30 million projection.
Sony Pictures is taking its Spider-Man's from Deadline exclusive, taking its Spider-Man universe into a new direction in a Me Too moment where Wonder Woman is being followed by a growing number of female superheroes. The studio is working on an animated Spider-Women film that will focus on 3 generations of women with Spidey powers. Beck Smith will write the script. One of these characters could very well be Spider-Gwen, a breakout character from the Spider-Verse. It's amazing it's a breakout character, and she hasn't even been out there yet.
Along with the fact that Gwen Stacy's been around since,
but that's
like,
the funny thing about Spider-Gwen,
though.
Spider-Gwen is one of those like happy accident kind of characters because
it was just a goof.
It's like a Winter Soldier thing
where
you're like, oh, boy, you either got to do that great or it's going to be a bad idea to take a beloved character who was synonymous with great loss for the character, bring them back in a completely different way,
but that's when
and
they
make it
started
work.
doing this Infinite Earths,
But it worked. Somehow it worked. And Spider-Gwen, I see more Spider-Gwens at conventions now than I do Spider-Mans. Although you always see Fat Spider-Man though, because that guy's awesome.
They also did a great job with her costume because her costume is kind of not a costume.
Yeah,
a costume that's not a costume.
Yeah.
Same as what they did with Miles Morales. His costume is kind of great. It's it's Spider-Man, but it's not. It's iconic in its own way. So there's a lot of good visual marketing on both of those characters, which actually probably helps, especially in the comic book medium.
Yeah. Going along those lines, we already actually kind of discussed it, but it was one of my stories, is that it's swinging to a 30 million, a 40 million start. So that's early tracking. So, I mean,
when they go 30 million, although people are saying that's going to be very low. Obviously, Sony doesn't feel that way because they're already planning to follow it up with something that conceivably could be less popular than this one. So, and I mean, theoretically, in terms of character recognition. So they don't really care.
We talked about this. We talked about it off air. Out of the 3 movies, your biggest winner is going to be
Aquaman.
Aquaman's going to.
I'm hoping for that. I hate predicting. You can't tell. Like I said,
you hate debating, and yet
I hate everything.
And
but
yet we're
I hate
on a talking
everything.
head show
Because every time I say I like something, you look at me like I'm crazy. So
that's the beauty of our show.
No.
You genuinely are crazy, and then in your eyes, I'm crazy, even though I am more normal, like the rest of the world.
He asked me to be on this show.
That's why
I'm the crazy one. Okay, no problem. Fine. I want Aquaman to be the best. I don't know. I'm not going to. You know what? I'm not going to predict that it's going to be the best, but it will be the best.
So now you're just being contrarian. I like that.
I'm just trying to.
Well, now I can't believe any opinion you have because I don't know if it's genuine.
You should never believe any opinion I have. Actually, you've never believed any opinion I have.
No, I do.
No?
I believe you have those opinions. That's
I hate the show and I hate you. This is the worst show we've ever done.
If we are going, I think we can all agree.
But you're aiming for you're thinking Spider-Verse.
No, actually, I'm going to go with you. Also, I think it's Aquaman. Also, I think Aquaman
we're not
is
supposed to agree.
No, I know we're not supposed to agree. I know it breaks the script, but I think just for the fact that animation tends to have a shorter shelf life.
Yeah, I agree.
When it comes to that, because look, at the end of the day, animation you could do anything. So there's almost. There's not a spectacle aspect to it. Whereas if Aquaman truly visually is what everyone is saying, and if it is an underwater Star Wars, Aquaman is going to make you want to go back to the theater to see it on this gigantic theater screen as opposed to as opposed to waiting for it to come home, where, they even said most of these animated movies end up going home because it's just easier. You can flip a cartoon on. I mean, how many times you have the Lego Movie in the background, or you have some
when you have the kids.
Yeah, it's easier. The Invincibles or the Incredibles, or you have all these really great things that you can do animated, and it just feels like, I don't know. It's almost like comedies now, where it's just better to have them at home. So I think there's that. I think Bumblebee is actually going to be a surprise, though. I think Bumblebee.
I believe it will do well. I just don't know if it will hold up against Aquaman. Like I said, if Aquaman does well, Aquaman could not do well.
Either gonna. Well, I think we all agree that first weekend's going to be amazing.
It could be Batman versus Superman.
Right. I was going to say Suicide Squad. Yeah. When all is said,
where everyone's like, "Wow, that really should do well. That looks pretty good."
Which film has the most pressure? Is it Aquaman or is it the Spider-Man movie?
I think it's Aquaman because Spider-Man. They're already lowering their heightened expectations.
I think the Transformers has the most pressure though, because Transformers is really.
I don't think so.
Because
they've already had their franchise has already done 5, right? Their franchise is Spider-Man. I know, but
if Aquaman fails at the end of the day, it's just another DC movie that just wasn't. You can write the byline, you can write the headline at that point. You know what I mean? Like it's already there. Oh, another DC movie fails. Oh, we got 3 more coming out.
Yeah, but I mean, and we just move on. Sony is already planning around Spider-Man. They're projecting it. They're the low projection of $30 million, and they're already planning another one with a less popular character.
But for Transformers,
so they're going to shake that off. They're
Transformers
prepared to shake that
continue. I think Bumblebee needs to do well. Otherwise, I don't think it continues.
But it's arguable that it doesn't need to continue. It's arguable that the fans don't even want it to continue.
I would agree that the timing of doing
they have to go through the gimmick
soon after the 5th one. I know.
They have to go through the gimmick of the visuals of the G1 visuals just to get people to show up. Because I mean, if this was just Bumblebee on his own with the same Michael Bay visuals, it would instantly be a flop.
Yeah, I agree with that as well too. I think the least amount of pressure is the Spider-Man movie, though. I think that's the least amount. Right? I think, again,
because
animated
of the
movie,
lowered expectations.
It's animated movie. It's lowered expectations. Spider-Man's a pretty well-known character. Look, at the end of the day, Spider-Gwen or Miles Morales doesn't, do what it needs to do. There's no, buildings aren't toppling. People aren't losing their jobs. It was, hey, let's rethink this and do it again some other time, or maybe do a Miles Morales, now that we've introduced him. It could even be like an X-Men kind of thing where the first X-Men had these lowered expectations, came out and it was like, oh, people will go see Wolverine popping claws, and let's really ramp up for X-Men 2. So I think that has the least amount. All right.
Wish they did.
Last story on the list is a little bit of a sad one. SpongeBob SquarePants creator Steven Hillenburg passes away
very young.
57. Yeah, he died of ALS, which is according to Variety. He was diagnosed with it in March of last year. We are incredibly saddened by the news. Following his battle, Nickelodeon said he was a beloved friend and longtime creative partner. SpongeBob, obviously both of us were too old to
Thank God. What I mean by that is we were too old so that we don't know it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I watched that all the time when I was 27.
Very true. But I got to give
However,
my hat
I knew all
off.
about it because my uncle had kids. And I remember my uncle talking to me like, do you know what this SpongeBob SquarePants thing is? And I'm like, no. So I heard about it way back.
It's to me, I always tip my hat to anyone that can create something that is so iconic that it permeates our pop culture forever. Like SpongeBob will always be a part, and it's almost like Mutant Ninja Turtles in the '80s where you thought it had a shelf life and then it didn't.
And it just kept going on and on. I just SpongeBob will be around forever, for quite some time.
All right, next week, join us. We're going to have Mitch Hyman, the creator of Redneck Werewolf, talk about his next horror project, and we're going to debate even more and disagree. Coming up next, the Governor's Shack.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.